that's the future of roofing sales is having that extremely good experience using technology and constantly staying top of mind using this tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The talking about technology, we need to get you on, make sure you get on these automations as well. Do you have
Yeah.
anything set up for reviews right now?
I don't, I've I've kind of found that like a lot of times, like if it's like an in-person thing, what I'll do is I'll just be like, hey, go to your Google Maps because they're usually already signed in there if they have a Gmail.
Yeah.
Here's our link. I'm gonna leave you to put on with what you want. Here's a couple of pictures. Something that I've really enjoyed there with sharing pictures with homeowners is flying a drone.
Mm.
For anybody out there who's on the fence about that, super fun, totally worth it. You get some angles you'd never get otherwise. In terms of the reviews, I just, leave them there to kind of put it in. Otherwise, what ends up happening is a lot of times you just never get it. Like you call them, you text them, they always say that they're going to do it. And we actually work that into our process a little bit, the whole like review thing. Um, but it's tough. I don't know why it's so tough. Like for me, like if I have a good experience, like I'll go out of my way to put on a review. I like doing it. But for some reason, maybe people like feel self-conscious of their grammar just being out there or whatever it is. But yeah, usually when we're
Thanks.
so yeah, but I'd be stoked to try that out with some, text and email campaigns, and you got some pretty solid scripts to work with too to try it out. Maybe we can get some from old customers or something. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people have seen around like a 30% success rate on
Wow.
getting reviews from that campaign,
Yeah.
those campaigns that we have set up. And
Mhm.
one thing for you, because I love how you've worked it into your process, and you don't want to be asking for reviews from someone that already left them. So you can also filter that out with a tag. By default, we usually have the blacklist tag built in, but you can also add
Okay.
a tag for like left review, and then if you add that
Hmm.
to the project when they leave the
Mhm.
review, then that
Mhm.
won't ask them at the end. So there's like ways
Okay.
you can filter that out. Cause yeah, you don't want to like stop doing, because it sounds like that's working really well, like asking right then and there. But if you can send the people that you don't for one reason or another get the review there, if
Mhm.
you can send them
Right.
into a campaign, you might get a few more.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, we can figure that out. We'll talk about that. One thing I wanted to ask you, so you were talking about early on in your sales career, talking about objections and how
Mhm.
it was real stressful getting like overcoming objections. And I feel like this is something that
Mhm.
a lot of salespeople struggle with. Just a fun fact about me. I've done a lot of things, and a lot of them have been technical, but I actually did door-to-door sales at one point. So I have somewhat of a sales background as well.
Mhm.
And I struggled with objections. I got where I could kind of overcome them to a certain extent, but objections are very tough, especially if you're not. I feel like some people are naturally wired where they're totally like shameless with it, but if you're not naturally wired that way,
Mhm.
it's really challenging. What is your
Mhm.
advice to a sales rep that's struggling with overcoming objections?
I mean, the first thing you have to do is kind of understand your process and maybe like it's almost too late when you get to that point, really.
Mm,
So like when I first got into sales, I felt like, why is this guy who's on the sales team such a good closer? Um, and this guy's not, or why am I not? Like I feel like people really like me, like I have good rapport with them, but I'm not closing the way that I should be. Like they feel too comfortable telling me no, or telling me they'll call me back, or whatever the objection is. And I kind of realized, so there was a guy, his name's David, and he was the top rep at the company that I worked for the longest as a sales rep. And they just fed him roofing leads. Like he'd just be out running, and those were the ones that had the highest close percentage, right? And everyone else hated him for it. And I was like, oh, I want to be friends with this guy. He seems super cool, And we ended up becoming friends.